Somewhere in heaven, John H. Johnson looks down and shakes his head at how his publication's legacy has been tarnished. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' Godbreaker at online booksellers today. All images in this video are used under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 and are used in conjunction with my commentary. Ebony magazine recently featured actor Jonathan Majors on the cover of February 2023's Ebony magazine. And at the bottom of the cover of him sitting on top of a sofa wearing some high boots and a pink cape and some pink hat on a pink background, they are saying that he's Hollywood's most wanted. However, I don't think most black men in the community, especially heterosexual black men, want this image of Jonathan Majors to reflect on us as a collective. Because when I take a critical examination of this February 2023 cover of Ebony magazine, it basically shows me how Johnson Publications has been compromised by white supremacy. And as it's been compromised by white supremacy, it is promoting an anti-black message in this image of Jonathan Majors, because this image of Jonathan Majors falls right in line with the anti-black man agenda that is promoted in many mainstream publications. Now, this image of Jonathan Majors is all part of the ongoing agenda to emasculate the black male image in mainstream media that we currently saw in a recent British Vogue cover, which featured Rihanna and her baby daddy A$AP Rocky. And in that British Vogue cover, it featured Rihanna presented as the leader in the relationship, whereas A$AP Rocky was emasculated by being presented as the smaller figure and being presented in a more feminine role and presented with feminine hair in braids and also wearing feminine jewelry. And this image of Jonathan Majors further promotes that effeminized agenda towards the black male image, because it features Jonathan Majors, a black actor, in a cape which is pink, on a pink background, sitting on the top of a rose-colored sofa with a pink B in the ebony word. And again, all of this is about trying to promote the image of a black man as being effeminized, and it's all about promoting the black man as being in a effeminized role instead of being presented in a masculine role. Now, this image of Jonathan Majors basically shows how legacy black media has been compromised, because I believe if John H. Johnson was alive, he would never sign off on this kind of image on his publication. Because back in the 1940s, when John H. Johnson first founded the Johnson Publications of Ebony, Jet, Hue, Tan, and many other publications, he designed them to elevate the black image, and he wanted to present a positive image of both black men and black women. And I believe John H. Johnson, if he were still alive, he would want to see Jonathan Majors presented in a masculine fashion that promoted a positive image to heterosexual black men, presented a positive image of heterosexual black manhood, and presented an image of heterosexual black masculinity, similar to what we got in his publications when it featured articles on legendary black celebrities like Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, and the late Muhammad Ali. When John H. Johnson was around, all of those black men were presented as strong and masculine, because when a black man is using his money to control the media, he is going to present a narrative that reflects positively on heterosexual black men and the black community, because he understands that the images he presents are a representation of black manhood to the world of black men as a collective. Unfortunately, as John H. Johnson was running Johnson Publications, he did not prepare his daughter to run Johnson Publications or understand the importance of the mission of Johnson Publications as related to the image of black people. And sadly, over the last couple of years, Johnson Publications ran into fiscal trouble under his daughter's leadership, and sadly, Johnson Publications wound up being sold to a white owner, and that white owner basically has compromised John H. Johnson's mission and is now falling right in line with the mainstream media and continues to support the anti-black man agenda that white supremacy has been promoting in its publications for the last 30 to 50 years. And in the last 30 to 50 years of mainstream publications, they have been promoting an anti-black man agenda, and in that anti-black man agenda, they have been looking to effeminize the black male image, because what they want to do is devalue black manhood, devalue black masculinity, and make the black man appear to be the weaker one as related to males in society, because that's what they're doing with these images of this Jonathan Majors photo shoot. Now, some want to say, oh, that Jonathan Majors on the cover is paying homage to the character of One Piece passively, but aggressively what the white supremacist is doing is using that homage to push and promote an anti-black man agenda to effeminize and emasculate the black man. Because what's featured on this cover, again, is a black man sitting with his legs crossed, because that's a feminine way for a black man to sit. He's got a cape on like a female that's ruffled and flowery, which is feminine, and he's got on a pair of thigh-high boots, again, looking effeminate, and it really runs counter to the original image of the One Piece character, who is looking like he's wearing a pair of shoes and a pair of pants. So there's some semblance of masculinity, but there's no semblance of masculinity whatsoever in an image of a black man sitting on top of a rose-colored sofa with a pink background on the cover, and the B, which represents blackness, is pink, and this is all a statement of emasculation for the black man, because I doubt you would see a white man featured in such an image where he is sitting there looking like a female, because usually when they dress up actresses, they'll have them sitting topless with some type of furry coat or cape like this, and looking with these type of thigh-high boots with their leg crossed. This is all about trying to effeminize the black man and strip him of his manhood and his masculinity. And this is what Hollywood wants for a black man like Jonathan Majors. While he may play characters that are masculine in movies like Creed and the recent Ant-Man and the Wasp as Quantumania as Kang, the villains in white supremacy don't want the black man to be seen as masculine. They don't want to have him to be seen in an image of strength or an image of power. So they look to minimize his masculinity, because there are white supremacists who fear the image of black manhood and black masculinity, because they feel inadequate about the image of a black man having strength and power. So they look to minimize and devalue his masculinity by producing images like this one featured on the cover of Ebony magazine. And again, it's troubling that you have legacy black media that was founded by men like John H. Johnson, going out here and publishing this in their publications. We have a black man on the cover dressed like a female, and later in the interior of the magazine, we've got the same man, Jonathan Majors, dressed up in a pink hat, wearing a pink suit with no shirt on underneath, and throwing a rose on a pink background, basically making this black man look effeminate. You're stripping this black man of his manhood inside of these emasculating photos, and you're presenting it as some sort of artistic shoot passively, but aggressively it's promoting anti-black male racism, because what they're looking to do is take the black man's image and make it effeminized so that the black man cannot appear to be a man with power. That's what they're looking to do with this image. Make it where the black man does not have any power that he's representing in this image. And as he's not looking like a man, he's looking like somebody that is weak, because a man sitting up looking like a female on the cover, dressed like a female inside of the magazine on a pink background. What this is all about is about emasculating a black man. And while Jonathan Majors may have arrived in Hollywood as a star, it cost him his intangibles of manhood, including his dignity, his self-respect, and his self-worth. And what I see on the cover of this Ebony magazine, of this image of the effeminized Jonathan Majors, which he has a black female's facial expression on, it's making me look at him and go, if this is the sad state of affairs of legacy black media, then that makes it where I, a part of new black media, have to go out here and work harder. Now, when I look at these images of Jonathan Majors on Ebony magazine's cover, it makes me understand why new black media like SJS Direct is so important, because it's only in new black media where you're going to get to see black men in a masculine state, where you're going to see heterosexual black manhood presented in all of the images in those publications. Because when I take my money and I create media, it's all about promoting a pro-black man narrative that presents a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity, like I grew up watching as I was reading magazines in Johnson publications like the original Ebony and Jet, where I saw images of strong black men like the late Malcolm X, like the late Muhammad Ali, like Bill Cosby, like Mike Tyson, like many other black men. Me seeing images of those black men growing up as a boy helped me to understand what type of man I needed to be when I grew up. And seeing those images and also seeing men in action like my late father and my brother, this is what made me into the man that I am today. And I understand as a man the importance of new black media, because new black media is the only way we can counter the anti-black images that are not only presented in the mainstream media, but are also presented in our legacy media, which, as we see with this cover of Ebony magazine, has become completely compromised. And sadly, Jonathan Majors, as he's arrived in Hollywood, shows us how compromised he is, because we have a man who was playing a supervillain in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania being made into a bitch on the cover of a black magazine. And this is all about socially engineering an idea in black boys' minds that in order to have success in Hollywood and to be the most wanted in Hollywood, a black man has to lose his masculinity, a black man has to lose his male identity, a black man has to lose his dignity and his self-respect. and he has to allow himself to be made into a bitch and being presented as effeminized and being presented in a feminine role. And again, that is a price too high to pay for me to be a part of the entertainment industry, because what they're doing with this image is basically saying that the black man is a joke, and the only black man that they want in their entertainment industry is a black male who will allow himself to be emasculated, a black man who will allow himself to be effeminized, a black man who will be dressed up like a woman, a black man who will be dressed up in pink. And again, this has been the standard, sadly, for over 30 to 50 years. I mean, I was watching this go on for years, and I caught on to it in 2010 when I wrote an article on Onyx Link talking about black men in dresses, entertainment, or emasculation, because back then I started to figure out there's a pattern to these effeminized images of black men, and as these black men try to rise to the A-list of Hollywood, it seems like they have to sacrifice their manhood and their dignity. And this is, again, the sad thing as related to success, because if you have to sacrifice your manhood and your masculinity, then that success is going to make you into a failure, because at that point you have lost the intangible of respect, because you're willing to sacrifice your respect all to get some fame that's only fleeting. But what you lost as related to your intangibles of manhood is just, again, sad to see. And again, these images show us why new black media like SJS Direct are so important for young brothers and young sisters out here, because it's only on new black media that young black men and young black women can see black men and black women in the traditional roles. It's only on new black media can you see a heterosexual black man like a John Haynes being strong and masculine, and it's only on new black media that you can get to see many different black women from walks of life, like a Lilith Graves, a Matilda Crowley, and Isis and an Easteen, being soft and feminine, and seeing how black men and black women can work together. It's only on new black media where you can get to see balanced, humanized images of black people with an agenda towards empowering us. And that's why it's important for us to go out and support new black media, because new black media has not been compromised by white supremacy. New black media has not been turned out by white supremacy. New black media has not sold out to white supremacy like legacy black media has. Legacy black media has sold out, and it's clearly shown here with this cover featuring Jonathan Majors. Here we have a black male who was presented as powerful in the Creed movies, presented as a villain in the Quantumania movie, but this black man has been turned into a lackey by those white supremacists who control the media, and those villains are going out here pushing their anti-black agenda to new levels, because these images are an assault on the black mind, and they're all meant to break the black mind and make black men believe that they are less than as a man in comparison to the images of white and non-black men, because again, you would never see a white or a non-black man dressed effeminate like Jonathan Majors is in these images. No, I remember seeing Vanity Fairs and Esquires where women, white women like Demi Moore and Sharon Stone, they would be posed like this. No, this is the only place that you see black men posed like this are these current legacy media, black media, and old mainstream media who have disdain for heterosexual black men. and they want to minimize black masculinity because many of the white supremacists there feel insecure and inadequate in the presence of heterosexual black men, and because they feel insecure and inadequate in the presence of heterosexual black men, they want to destroy heterosexual black manhood and black masculinity by creating images like this, because again, you would never see any A-list white male like a Leonardo DiCaprio, a Brad Pitt, or even guys like Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or Robert Downey Jr. dressed like this. No, you would never see those white males presented like that, because the men who control the media arm of white supremacy would not want to see their men degraded, because their media is designed to elevate white men and white women, and the only people who are out here elevating black men who are new black media like SJS Direct. And again, this is why new black media is important, because new black media is the only place where you're going to get to see balanced, humanized images of black men, balanced, humanized images of black women, balanced, humanized images of a black family, and narratives like black love, black self-love, and black empowerment. That's what you're going to receive on a new black media platform, and that's why new black media is important today. Now, back a while back, I didn't think that there was much of the publications I was producing, but every day that I see these images in magazines like British Vogue with Rihanna emasculating A$AP Rocky, the Rolling Stone cover, which featured the George Floyd protest erasing the black man, the Time magazine cover erasing black men as related to the family, and now this image effeminizing Jonathan Majors, a black man who is looking to get on Hollywood's A-list. It makes me appreciate a lot of the work that I do on SJS Direct, because it seems like the only way we're going to get to see the images of us that reflect a bigger picture of the world is on new black media. That's the only place where we're gonna see these images, because these kind of images that they're putting in this compromised legacy black media, the images they're putting in mainstream media that they promote anti-black racism. Yes, passively they include black people, but aggressively they promote anti-black racism, and that anti-black racism is designed to teach boys that they need to be in a feminine role. They are designed to teach boys that they need to be like a woman to be accepted in society. They need to sacrifice their manhood and masculinity to be a part of society, and that black masculinity is less than black femininity. Again, these are dangerous messages that prevent a boy from becoming a man who can go out and compete in the world, and they prevent a black boy from actualizing his potential as a black man. And that's why these kind of images are dangerous, and this is why you have to give your black boy new black media like the John Haynes series, and you have to give a boy stories that show him images of black manhood and black masculinity, that show him the value of being a man. Because what we see here from Hollywood's Most Wanted is that nobody wants a black boy to actualize himself as a man, and what they do is create men in crisis with this type of media. And this is why you have to be careful about what you give your kids, because a diet of this media will turn your boy from going on the road to becoming a man to winding up on the road to becoming a man in crisis. Now, if you want to see a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity, you can pick up The Temptation of John Haynes on Amazon.com in paperback, and you can also pick up the books of the John Haynes series on Amazon.com as well in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find John Haynes books on other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to pick up the first John Haynes comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that on Lulu.com, and you can pick up your copy of John Haynes at Death's Door on Lulu.com. And I also have other positive stories featuring sisters like the Isis series, the Esteem series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy. And I also have an inspiring, uplifting, sophisticated sorority story in the Thetas, and a story of black men and black women working together in a recipe for success, and a great black vampire novel, Eternal Night. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find many of them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to continue to see me make more videos about new black media and why it's important, and you want to see me continue making more positive black publications, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App, and it's all greatly appreciated. I thank you for your support in advance. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available on Lulu, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at Lulu.com today. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Vampires Stalk the Darkness of the Eternal Night. Get your copy of Eternal Night in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com.